funny. Brings us to item 9, regional topics for consultation, local board input. And I welcome here Rachel, Helgard, and Beth. Sorry, ladies, over to you.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and kia ora koutou. So this report summarises feedback from local boards on the mayoral proposal and regional consultation content. So in line with the emergency budget, there's been increased involvement of local boards in the development of the 10-year budget consultation topics. Local board chairs have attended Finance and Performance Committee workshops, as Kylie mentioned, and boards have viewed and discussed presentations on key topics. Local boards all met last week to both agree their consultation content and their views on the regional topics for consultation. The 21 sets of resolutions have been collated and form Attachment A to the report. There is a lot of content and variation across the 86 pages of resolutions, which cover all of the 9 topics in the mayoral proposal. So the report itself focuses on key areas of agreement across local boards, and I'll briefly go through 4 of those topics. Firstly, there's strong support for action to address climate change. 12 local boards support consultation on the proposed level of investment in the mayoral proposal, and 5 local boards support a higher level of investment. Excuse me. So in the environmental protection topic, the plan to extend the water quality and natural environment targeted rate to finish in 2031 is supported by 17 local boards. Under transport spending, 16 local boards specifically note their support for the reinstatement of the local board Transport Capital Fund. Lastly, in terms of how to pay for council spending, 13 local boards support consulting on the 5% rates rise proposal. 2 local boards raised concerns about affordability, and another 2 local boards suggested consulting on a higher rates rise. Of the local boards who commented on it, 14 local boards support a temporarily higher debt to revenue ratio. And there was mixed support for asset recycling and annual savings targets. So the report itself goes through the key topics in the mayoral proposal in more detail and notes which local boards have taken different positions. And I'm happy to take questions.
Thank you. Questions, councillors? Councillor Cooper.
2 of the local boards said that the rate should be progressive, but it is, isn't it? Because it's on the capital value of your property, so it isn't progressive. It's not a one-off. It's not a set tariff. It's just that one of them. I'm just checking because it says here in where is it that the way we spend the money that says Mangere o Tahahu and Otara Papatoetoe raised concerns about, noted the new rate should be progressive.
So the capital value rates are progressive.
Yeah, that's what I was just checking. So that it already is.
Any other? Councillor Sayers.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you for your report. Just the local boards that would like a higher rates increase, could you just identify who they were and what their suggestions were over the, say, 3-year period or whatever they're suggesting?
Yes, through the chair. The Rodney Local Board would like an additional option of consultation of a rates increase of 8% in the first year and then 5% for the subsequent 2 years. And secondly, the Waitemata Local Board recommended a one-off increase in Averil general rates of 8% for the 2021 financial year before returning to 5% from the following year onwards. It also recommended an option of 12% to be included in the consultation material. So that's in paragraph 27.
Thank you, councillor. Any other questions or comments? Look, I'd just like to make a comment, and I'm sure you all will agree with this. We've been working long and hard towards a point, and these local boards had to turn around their comments in a very, very short period of time. and the information that they were presented was kind of, we didn't get there right to the very end. So I think they all are to be commended for the way that they've actually at least had some thought around that. And I know we've been challenged in the support for the local boards financially to give them that input. You know, they've all tried to find their extraordinary meetings on a day that suits everybody, and not all the staff could support them around that. So it's been quite a tricky process for them, and I'm sure that you will agree with the B, thanking the local boards for their feedback in the very tight time frame provided. All right, so I'd like to move that, and I seconded by Councillor Dalton. Comment? Oh, sorry. Okay. Thank you. Comment? Question? Councillor Walker?
I want to raise an issue, Madam Chair, and it's further to a comment that you made a little while ago, where, given the state of change around our budgets and the like, it may well be that we actually revisit this long-term plan on almost an annual basis. Mm-hmm. And that may go to, obviously, input from local boards and also communities. Is that something that we're going to signal in the long-term plan? You know, that there is a likelihood that we may have to revisit it in a more substantial way than we would normally in terms of annual plans?
Well, you've heard me say it multiple times, and I will say it multiple times again. I fervently believe that while we are legally obliged to do an LTP, which we are doing, we will have LTP amendments every year for at least the next 2 years. That's my personal view. And I've even heard that the Mayor's...
I absolutely agree with
agreeing
that.
Me now.
My concern is that it's desirable for us to signal that, so that we don't have a comment that, you know, we're coming out of left field in a year's time.
I think that's a fair point, absolutely. And so I will say it publicly, and Your Worship, I'm sure...
Yeah, well, I'll endorse what the Chair of the Finance Committee has said, and what you're talking about too, Councillor. We live in an age of uncertainty, and it's hard to remember when things were less certain than they are today with COVID-19. So we've been quite buoyed by the fact that the economic recovery, at least in the first instance, has been better than we expected. We always budget conservatively, because that's the only way you can budget. You can't say, look, I'll do this on the hope. But if things turn out a whole lot better, and we hope they do, then we will make adjustments, as we always do, in our annual budget next year. So this is not a document carved in stone. This is an indication of direction for a 10-year budget, particularly over the next 3 years, but subject to change on an annual basis. And maybe even, you can still amend your long-term plan at any point when circumstances change and you're required to do that. So, we hope that the news is good news. Vaccine coming in just a few months' time. Maybe we will see a return of some of those dividends that we're looking for a little bit earlier, and we'll be able to do a whole lot more. So, but you don't budget those now without having the certainty of it. The Auditor General's Office, as you're aware, requires us only to put revenue into our budget where it's certain revenue, and that's what we've done.
Through you, Madam Chair, I mean, I understand all this. I just wonder whether we could and should be sending some signal out in the document so that people know that this is not set in stone, because on the face of it, look at it, it's the 10-year budget, that's it. So I just toss that in.
Look, I think we'll look at that definitely in the new year when we get the consultation material prepared. But it's certainly something that I have, as you know, regularly shared in the workshops. Any other questions or comments? Okay, so it's been moved and seconded. All those in favour say aye. Against? Moved. Thank you. And thank you, and please pass on our thanks to the local boards. Thank you very much. Right, ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to